I'm not sure if there is an anti-venom. I think there might be. Did I make the most venomous spider in North America into a plushie? Of course I did. Modeled after Binx, of course, my Black Widow who lives right here in my Helena inspired enclosure. And of course, today she is not feeling very social. She is actually, I don't know if you can see it from here, but I'll get you guys a better shot. If not, she likes to go up in her rows during the daytime, and then at nighttime she does come out and she just hangs out on display. She is one of my favorite spiders in my entire collection. And if you guys remember, when I first got her, I was actually really terrified of her. We're gonna do this. We're doing this. I got a pep talk from Mr. Tarantula Kat, and it is time. Black Widow, point A to point B. Oh wow, that is a Black Widow. Damn, she looks sick in this enclosure. Oh wow, oh my god, she's so gentle.
You were making it out to be like she's a big bad.
I know, I was making it out in my head to be way worse than it was. But she quickly became one of my favorite spiders, and now we have a plush of her. Usually we embroider the eyes on, but this time I thought we would add little buttons. I feel like Black Widows already kind of have these like black buttony eyes. Honestly, I just think it just turned out so cute. I thought it was such a cute little touch. I don't know, it's different than the others. And of course we have the red hourglass. And then also you can see I actually asked them to make her abdomen a little bit bigger than we usually go with, just because I feel like Black Widows always have that huge round behind. Of course we have the detachable gummy worm, which is a very important feature for her because Binx absolutely loves gummy worms. As usual, these are limited edition. If you want to order a Binx plushie, do so ASAP because this does not last long. It makes me so sad when people message me and they're like, how do I get it? Is there any way I can still get it? I always feel so terrible. It's like I have no control over that. You have to order it within the amount of time. Even for me, I can't order it after that. I have to order it in the same pre-order window that they give. Put her on top of the tower. Okay. So today we are going to be talking about Black Widow care. I do not make care guides very often, but I feel like this is a very good spider to make a care guide on. So she's in one of my absolute favorite enclosures that I've ever designed, and this is just a medium coffin cribs. She has her little hide, she webbed up, and she goes right up into those flower petals, and that's kind of where she hides. But at night, she comes out every night on display, and I've realized that all the Black Widows that I've kept, they all come out at night and they just will sit there on display. Even during the day, sometimes she does come out. So this is a spider that if you decide to keep them, they are for sure a display spider. They're gonna be out pretty often. And if you want a spider in your home that is gonna be like a conversation starter, this is it. I mean, they're just absolutely beautiful and majestic. But not only that, their care is insanely simple. This is probably one of the most simple spiders to keep. They are absolutely beginner friendly. I couldn't honestly recommend a better spider for a beginner. So to acquire a Black Widow, you can either go outside and collect one from your backyard or any piece of legal land that will allow it, or you can order one from a vendor. You can get a wild caught one or you can get a captive bred one. Honestly, both of these I've found can have drawbacks. When it comes to wild caught, of course, there is always the risk that the female is an adult female and she is gravid, which means she is going to lay an egg sac. And a lot of times when you get a Black Widow that's an adult from the wild, they come to you gravid. It's a very common occurrence, and that's something that you absolutely need to be aware of. If you want to avoid that issue, find a younger wild caught one that's for sale or get a captive bred one. So Holly was the other Black Widow that I had for some time, and I grew her out, but sadly she ended up passing away. And one of the things that we discussed on the reel when I posted it, I said it was so weird because she was captive bred. I got her when she was younger. Like, I would have expected her to do better long term. But the thing is, when it comes to captive bred genetics, it's a little different. In the wild, only the strongest survive. So inevitably, you tend to end up getting the most strong specimens because they've survived all the stressors, all the wildlife, all the predators. They've survived this whole time. Their genes tend to be a little bit stronger because they're just the babies of strong genes over and over and over, because only the strong ones will make it to adulthood. When it comes to captive bred, however, a lot more babies live into adulthood that probably would not have been strong enough to live in the wild, which makes their genetics a little bit more weak. And I'm speaking not technically on a scientific term. As far as I know, there's no like proof of this happening. It's just a theory that kind of we discussed on my Instagram. People had a lot of insight, and I thought that was like a really good point and something I hadn't considered before that. Now, when it comes to getting a Black Widow enclosure, the great news is that that they do not need or want a lot of space. In the wild, which I have seen them in the wild, I do see them in the wild, a lot of people do, they will just find a little corner, web up that corner, live in that corner. In my case, the ones that I've found have been living under rocks and a little space. You guys know that Holly passed away a while ago, but I did a really cool enclosure for her as well. The aesthetics, of course, they're gonna be mainly for you. So if you get something about this size for an adult, you can just throw in some sticks and call it a day. If you want, you can get more artistic with it. You can really do what you want with it. They will make it work. And that's the great thing about them, is that they are very adaptive animals, which exactly is why they survive so well. One of the features of them anyway. The other feature, of course, is their venom. So yeah, black widows are definitely the most venomous spider in North America, and in certain parts of the world even, they are found and their venom is known to be quite strong. Having said that, this is not comparative to like venomous snakes. Yes, their venom will be very, very painful and you will not feel good for a while. Black widow venom is neurotoxic, so it's gonna stink. It will not feel good, and it can be dangerous if you are particularly old, particularly young, or if you have some underlying health issues. Then you really want to avoid getting a black widow bite. That said, nobody in the United States has passed away from a bite since I think 1983, 84, somewhere around there, and hopefully it stays that way. I'm not sure if there is an anti-venom. I think there might be, but I do have a friend. I think a lot of you guys will know him. His name is Jack's World of Wildlife, and he's actually documented himself getting brown recluse bites and black widow bites, and very interesting, very interesting. Of course, everybody's experience getting bitten by anything is gonna vary for sure. The thing is black widows are very reluctant to bite. They're very gentle creatures. They're very docile. Yes, anything with a mouth has the ability to bite, but it's not something that they typically want to do. Their first defense is typically going to flee, play dead. There's so many things they rather do than bite and waste their venom on you, because their venom is actually meant for them to eat. That's how they digest their food. They will liquefy what they're eating and slurp it up. Black widows can and do eat small mammals, lizards, prey that is much larger than them. They're known to eat it. They're very good at surviving off whatever is in their path, and their venom is strong enough to allow them to take meals that are much bigger than them. And that's mainly what their venom's for. It's not to hurt anybody. It's not even necessarily to ward off predators. It just gives them the ability to eat small lizards, small rodents, whatever they can in order to survive. I know they're intimidating because of their venom, because of their reputation, but like I've said, they're very docile. They're very gentle. You can handle them, but I personally wouldn't recommend it, just because it does run the risk of ruining your next couple days. When it comes to feeding and watering, this is also a very simple thing for them. In my case, I never really missed them, except maybe I'll do a few drops of water on their web. You know, every couple weeks or so, I'll just do a couple little drops of water next to them on their web. Not a big spray. I don't spray the whole thing down. They really don't need that humidity, and they don't really tend to like it either. And when it comes to food, I only feed the babies maybe once a week, and as adults, I honestly only feed my black widows once every 3-ish weeks, because when I feed them, I usually give them a pretty big meal. It makes their abdomen quite large, and then I just kind of wait for the abdomen to go down a little bit before I feed them again, which is usually a couple weeks before it will shrink back down to its normal size. But yeah, very simple care. It's hard to mess it up, honestly. Like I said, they're very adaptive. They don't need much. They do really well just being left alone and being fed occasionally. And when it comes to cleaning their enclosures also, you don't need to do much. See, I just cleaned out Binx's enclosure, but here's Holly's old enclosure. As you can see, there's old cricket body there. There's an old cricket body on the bottom. There's, you know, old superworm and stuff. What I do is I just go in there and I pick it out, and with like some tweezers, they usually will go to the bathroom on the door. You can kind of see some white drops. Their poop is just like little white drops, almost like bird poop. I just take the door off and wipe it with a wet paper towel, pop it back in, and it's all good. And that's how I clean their enclosures. That's all I do. Do you hear those cicadas? I'm so sorry. So say that you would love to have a black widow, but you are still too sketched out about their venom, or maybe you just don't have access to them. A great option for you would be the southern house spider. So this enclosure, you guys might remember, this is a cobweb castle, and yes, there are some dead bugs for real. That's like a big old dead half-eaten hornworm and stuff. Absolutely disgusting. I gotta pick all this out, but she kicks it out of her web. This is the southern house spider. and I've had her for a long time. Their care is very similar to Black Widows, and they live also a very long time. Black Widows, they live about 2 to 4 years. These guys can live even longer, up to 8 years. Up to 8 years. I think I've had her like maybe 3-ish years, 4-ish years maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah. And this is a really cool enclosure that, again, I got this from Cobweb Castles. I don't know if he sells this. I think it was like a Kickstarter at the time, but he just sent me her with the enclosure. Same care as a Black Widow, I would say. Very similar care, and I take care of her the exact same way I take care of Black Widows. So no, she's not black, but she still has that really sleek, beautiful look to her. The same behaviors. Just a really good option if, you know, you're not ready for a Black Widow, which is fine. Never get an animal you're not ready. But also another great option for you is my Black Widow plush. So go pre-order her. Her link is down below. I will see you guys soon. Like this video if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're not, and you want to be. Don't forget I have an Instagram to use probably way too much, is at Tarantula Kat. You can go follow me there. I also have a podcast, Discord, Plushies, merch, a whole bunch of stuff. It's linked down below. I will see you guys soon. Let's get into the Patreon pet picks.